Hi everyone, movie reviews and predictions here, and welcome to another review of my movie review series, where I share my thoughts and review my movies that I like and dislike about. And today I'll be reviewing Godzilla vs Kong, how I rank it and how I rate and rank about this movie. But anyways, let's get into the review, shall we? So what is Godzilla vs. Kong? Well, Godzilla vs. Kong is a 2021 American monster film directed by Adam Wolberg and a sequel to Godzilla King of the Monsters and from 2019 and Kong Skull Island from 2017. It is the fourth film in Legendary's MonsterVerse, and it's also the 36th film in the Godzilla franchise, the 12th film of the King Kong franchise as well, and the fourth Godzilla film to be completely produced by a Hollywood studio. Now, what makes this film kind of interests me is about this film was a remake to the original King Kong vs. Godzilla movie from 1962. Dang, that movie is so old. I wish I should get my time machine and just travel back to 1962 if this movie was still new at the time and in theaters so I can go see it in theaters. Sadly, it was sold out a long time ago. Also, I heard fun facts about this movie is that this movie is going to be 60 years old next year. So I believe it's going to celebrate its 60th anniversary of the original release of King Kong vs. Godzilla in 2022. So that's why they want to make another remake of Godzilla vs. Kong movie for this year. It was originally supposed to be released in November of last year, but thanks to COVID-19, this movie is now moved to March of this year. This film is also a remake of Aisho Honda's original 1962 King Kong vs. Godzilla movie, but except it switched to Godzilla vs. Kong, because Godzilla was defeating Kong in this film, and that's what this film is going to be about. Is all about. But anyways, let's get into the plot of the movie. I really like to hear the storyline of Godzilla vs. Kong. Now let's go in the plot, shall we? So Godzilla vs. Kong, directed by Adam Wingard, tells the story. So the story starts when King Kong was resting in Skull Island. That's basically where he lives and sleeps in, and starts waking up and meets this little girl named Jaya, who is deaf and uses sign language to communicate with people, especially with Kong. And what she is carrying is this little plastic gorilla doll and rises up to King Kong, and that's how Jaya first met Kong. Now after that, King Kong saw the doll, and then King Kong decided to grab a stick or root, whatever they call it, and threw it away and crashed into the screen of the sky. Now the interesting part about this scene is that after King Kong throws a stick and then hits the sky, it turns out that it's just a dome called Kong Containment, and in this dome, people are studying and trying to find King Kong and buy dome breach to use him before Godzilla defeats him. Now outside the dome is Dr. Andrews, and I don't know what the other scientist's name is, so I just skipped that. Then Jaya comes near to Dr. Andrews, and Jaya explaining to here about what she saw and how she feels. So Mr. Andrews, Dr. Andrews responded to the little girl and sent her by using sign language, and sent her to the truck where she can be safe. Along with that, Yeah. Along with that, we got into the intro of Godzilla vs Kong, and in that intro, it tells you about like the monsters about Godzilla and Kong, and how it happened in Japan, just like the original King Kong versus Godzilla movie from 1962. And the background in this intro is done with futuristic scientific stuff and like modern computers we have today. Now at Apex Cybernetics, Bernie Hayes, who is the employee who works there and hosts a titan of conspiracy therapy podcast. It tracks data suggesting similar activities and a Spinectia activity. Oh, and in case you didn't know where the peninsula is, I'll tell you. It's a westernmost city in the Florida Panhandle, located in Sable country of Florida. So I believe this film was taking place in Florida, I think. But anyways, moving on. So Bernie stumbles on a massive device and goes to Mason Russell, who is a fan of Bernie's podcast, and enlists her friend Josh to investigate Kong's attacks. Now, there's a funny part in the scene about the apple. Before Mason Russell took a huge bite of an apple, Bernie warned him to stop eating the apple because it is unhealthy. When the apple is not unhealthy, guys, an apple is not unhealthy. Like, only a raw apple that never be finished for a day is unhealthy, not just only an apple. Something like that. So Bernie went into this bag to reach out his hand of sanitizer and his pencil to show Mason about the radio mesh. So when Mason went to the bathroom, Bernie pulled out his device and pushed it in a CPU to do his own work on Mason's computer. So I think he's trying to hack on Mason's computer to see if they're shipping King Kong on a boat, so King Kong on a boat, left out the boats to follow Godzilla on the water before King Kong defeats Godzilla, so Godzilla can follow the boats that are leading to. Let's face it, Godzilla is a lizard that swims underwater, so I think Godzilla is a sea creature. After they sent the helicopters flying and brought the other weapons to defeat Godzilla, Godzilla is so strong that he can defeat a helicopter, and something like a size of a building, something like that. He also ended up being on the news because of that, so they do need Kong to defeat him, that's for sure. So they did was to lay King Kong in a huge ship and tighten him up with chains all over him, and inside the ship, Dr. Lean Andrews and Jaya meets Dr. Nathan Lind, who is a scientist of the ship and studies King Kong in the ship. Before the Battle of Godzilla began, Nathan and Leland went to get some coffee in the ship and discuss about what could happen if Kong, after the Battle of Godzilla vs Kong, while Jaya was playing in her room with her fake dog and flapping its arms. Now, I want to talk about Nathan and Josh finding Bernie. So after Josh stops his van, Mason runs up to him while Josh walks outside the van to join him to find Bernie, who is in a Japanese restaurant. So Mason and Josh hop in the van, which is way similar to a truck from the 1980s or a modern 2000s van in this movie. Now there's a difference between Mason and Josh in Godzilla vs. Kong. Before I move on to the ship scene, Josh drives in a van to team up with Mason to find Bernie, while Mason is really similar to some kind of character from Stranger Things, something like that. But whatever. During the ship, there's an alarm going on, and there's an alarm going, and light effects are on. Then Jaya and Eline rush out to see Godzilla. Kong, if he's okay outside the ship. King Kong isn't okay at all because of Godzilla and trying to break out the chains to defeat him before Godzilla comes near to the ship and destroys it. Godzilla destroyed one ship before the other. That King Kong got chained on the ship. So they sent the fighter jets to defeat him, but nothing happened. So Dr. Nathan Lin released the chains to let go of King Kong and defeat Godzilla. After Godzilla destroyed the ship, the ship began to sink, so Nathan and the rest of the group decided to leave the ship to save while King Kong fights with Godzilla. Meanwhile, with Josh and Mason and Bernie, they sneak out into the wrecking Apex base, discover the secret fantasy underground, and are violently locked into the underground monorail transport to Apex headquarters in King Kong, where they originally stumbled on the test of Godzilla. It is temporarily controlled by Ren Venezuela, the son of the late Israel Sariziwa. Yeah, that's the perfect amount. Through the neural networks from the skull of a severed gyral head, but it's hot by its power sublime eliminations. Walter attends to harm lest the Howl Earth's emergency to overcome Mega Godzilla's eliminations. Now there's not only just one battle of the ocean, but in a city, and that's what I'm going to discuss about. So after 5 helicopters lift up King Kong, they decide to land him into a city until this another Godzilla, which is a robo version of him, tries to defeat Kong. So that way King Kong will lose. But that's not how the story ends. There's still more. Jaya, Lean, and Bernie and the others try to escape while Godzilla fights along with Kong in New York City to the ocean. So it's turning out that this movie is gonna be a wrestling battle in the movie because of the stunts and the speed ups in this movie. Then Mason, Josh, and Bernie are caught by security and taken to Walter. Despite Ren's concerns over the power concerns of Variety, Walter orders him to activate Magic Godzilla. They lose control of Mega Godzilla, who kills Walter, electrocutes Ken, and then attacks King Kong. Godzilla and Mechagodzilla battle, but Godzilla is overwhelmed, and Nathan revives Kong by destroying the Heavy V, and Jaya convinces him to help Godzilla as Mechagodzilla overpowers both titans. Josh short circles Mechagodzilla, controls with Bernie's mask of equator momentary interrupting the merch. Godzilla supercharges King Kong's axe with his atomic breath, allowing Kong to destroy Mechagodzilla. Mason Bernie and Josh reunite with Mark Russell while Godzilla and Kong acknowledge each other before the two go to their separate ways. At the end, Godzilla ended up winning, and not at the end. I'm sorry. At the end, King Kong ended up winning, and the rest of the group returned to Skull Island, and they live happily ever after. Alright, so that's all of the plot of this movie. Now it's time to move on to my favorite and least favorite parts in the movie. Now let's move on, shall we? So what are my favorite and least favorite parts of the movie? Well, the first part I actually like in the movie is how King Kong woke up on Skull Island, which is his home, and met a little girl named Jaya holding a gorilla doll, and King Kong throwing a stick to the sky, and just turns out to be like a dome named Kong Confinement. The next one is how Jaya used sign language to communicate with people, and then Irene started using sign language with her too and calls everybody a coward. Now, in case you guys didn't know what coward means in sign language, it's this. Kinda? I think so. And the last final part of the movie is the battling scenes between Godzilla and King Kong in an ocean to a city, and all the buildings were destroyed. And yeah, and I like that before. It kind of reminds me of some wrestling battle I've seen, but whatever. I definitely like Godzilla vs. Kong very much. So, I'll give Godzilla vs. Kong, drumroll please, a 10 out of 10. Best movie ever of 2021, and heck, best sequel of 2021, along with Godzilla King of the Monsters from 2019 and Kong Skull Island from 2017. As I said before, I definitely like Godzilla vs. Kong. It's a pretty great movie, a very perfect storyline, and super underrated film for 2021. But as of anyways, let's get into the conclusion, shall we? In conclusion, Godzilla vs. Kong is one of my most favorite movies of 2021 and favorite sequel of the Godzilla and King Kong franchise. Well, there you go. That's all my review of Godzilla vs. Kong. If you guys like this video, then please hit like and subscribe to the channel if you're new, and don't forget to subscribe to my other channels, to those channels too. Those links will be in the description too. In the description, the links will be in the description below too. But now it's time for me to say my final thing to say. Now, get out there and keep on watching movies. See you soon!